I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. This is a special and very personal video for me I'm making, and it's dear to my heart. As you can see right below me on this diagram here, you can see stage A, stage B, stage C. This is a autoimmune disease called Dupuytren's, this is how I pronounce it, Dupuytren's Contracture. It's not the same as trigger finger, it's Dupuytren's Contracture. And as you can see with this disease, stage A is a nodule that will form in your hand, and then that nodule eventually in stage B develops a cord in your hand, and that cord in your hand will tighten down and bend your fingers inward in stage C. So these are the three different stages of Dupuytren's Contracture. And the reason I've made this video is because I have Dupuytren's Contracture, and I've got it in a few places in my hand. As you may be aware, I'm an engineer by degree, I'm management by my work, but I am a hobbyist. I fix watches as a hobby. I also do card magic, right? I do coin magic, I do close-up magic, and in the world of close-up magic, your hands are gold, right? So if you end up with hand issues, it just can ruin things for you. So, and I do a lot of card manipulation, and I've done it for years and years and years. I'll probably screw this up, but let's see if I can get this to weave in. Just partially wove in. Anyway, not too good there. So the problem is when you're doing manipulation of cards and these sorts of things, and you have this kind of disease, you're going to have to compensate for it. So, and I want to show you something I've done that's really helped me. The other thing is, before I continue here, is that I was able over the years to figure out a way to actually slow the disease. So there's a helicopter thing that you probably saw. So to slow the disease down, or actually prevent it from making my fingers go in. So let me just show you quickly what my hand looks like. Alright, so this is a normal looking hand here. This is the one I use for picking for my guitar. But as you can see from my hand, everything looks normal here on my finger here. This is my engineering ring. But if you move over here to this side here, you see that the hand is, the skin is bunched up here a bit. And it's also bunched up right here, right? So, and this does interfere with some of my coin manipulation, as I don't have, this area is not the same as it was. So when I do manipulation of coins, it gets a little trickier for me to do what I normally do quite easily, right? So that is a pain for me, but for everything else, it doesn't seem to be a problem. And it seems to have happened exactly where I was holding my golf club. So if you're looking at this hand holding a golf club, I'll do a different camera review in a second. But this other hand here is the one that's worse, and I've got what I would call a cure for this. So this is typically where the finger will bend all the way in like this. But as you can see, I still have full use of my fingers, and I play guitar, and these fingers are quite dexterous, I think the word is dexterous. So I've got dexterity in these fingers and speed, and if you've seen any of my videos playing guitar, I can still play guitar, no issue at all. But this is where it's bunched up, and I guess up close it looks pretty disgusting, eh? But my hands they're hideous, Jerry, hideous. So you gotta have a sense of humor about crap like this in life, okay? Because worse things in life can happen to you. So this is not gonna shorten my life, hopefully. But I'll tell you what I've done to kind of keep my finger relatively straight. I can't keep my palm completely down, but man, it's pretty darn close. One thing I can't do in this hand very well anymore is roll a coin, and I used to be able to roll a coin. I get to the last finger and it just doesn't want to do it properly. So I used to be able to roll a coin really fast down these hands, and I could do up to 39 in 1 minute, when the world record I think was 45 or something in a minute. But this finger has kind of caused this problem, and I can't get the finger up high enough to grab that coin, so it pisses me off. But from a guitar perspective, I can still play guitar, no problem. And I've had this disease for I think around 7, 8, 9 years is when I first noticed it. So it's been almost 9 years, and it has progressed, but not much worse than what you're seeing here. So now let me get to what I have done to prevent my hand from coming in. So as you can see, I can roll the coin. Get this hand out of the way. I can roll the coin down this finger here, right? So this is doable, but this other hand, I have a problem because of Dupuytren's Contracture. So, and I know there's another way of pronouncing it. So this one, I have a problem with it because of the skin, and it comes in layers, right? So the skin layer that's the toughness of your skin wants to bunch up here, and it's almost, I watched a video on this, and it's like your body thinks it's wounded, like you've got a cut, and then when you have a cut, then there's, I think, collagen gets in there, and it bunches up, and it sort of tries to heal. It gets fat, and eventually it goes away, and it's good, right? Here, it believes there's something wrong here, and it's attacking this area. So it's kind of an autoimmune disease, I think, and it wants to build this up to protect it, but the result is this. So Ronald Reagan had this, by the way, and there's many actors. Bill Murray has this. So maybe Bill Murray can watch this video and comment if anybody knows Bill Murray out there. He's a pretty cool dude. Maybe he can comment on this too. And if I look at where it's happened in my hands, it's where there's been some trauma on my hand, and that's where golfing. So if you hold your golf club like this, there's a lot of pressure on this side of the hand when you're holding it nice and loose, and there's pressure right here. And guess what? That's where the Dupuytren Contracture is happening, right in those two areas in my hand. So golfing is probably out for me now, although I was a pretty darn good golfer, like a 12 handicap for many years. So I think that's out. But let me show you what I've found has helped me over the years. Again, splinting. So there was a study done in the 60s on splinting, and they took 100 people and they got them to put a splint on their finger, and it's usually the pinky that folds in, and or the second finger over, or the third if you're counting from here, fourth finger and the third finger. And they got them to splint their fingers, and most of them couldn't continue with the splinting. I think they may have thought it was a pain or something like that, but they didn't continue. The few that did continue, it worked. So I started splinting many years ago, and I wear a splint. You can buy these on Amazon, and these are called Jeanette Go. I'm not sure who she is, but Jeanette Go. And these are finger splints, and these are Velcro things to size it properly. And all I do every night is I put the splint on my finger like that, and there's a chunk of metal inside the splint, which prevents your finger from folding in, right? So every night I go to bed with this on, and I wake up in the morning, I toss it off, and then I don't have it for the rest of the day. Everything seems to be fine. If you can look there, the speed and dexterity are there. I can still play crazy guitar, not a problem. It's not completely straight or completely flat, but it's pretty darn good, and it doesn't get in the way. It's not difficult to put a glove on. If I hadn't have splinted, I know for a fact this finger would be like this. And then the next step is either needle therapy, or you're cutting the cord, or you're doing something to fix it that way. And then there's a danger of losing nerves in your fingers. And if you do that, and you're a musician, you might as well forget using this finger. Some people have actually amputated their fingers because it's been so bad and it kept returning that this finger was just in the way, so they just got rid of it. Now, if you get rid of this finger, you can still play blues guitar without a problem. Which is kind of sad, but you can still do it without a problem. So, but my fingers are working perfectly right now. A few of these close-up magic things I do aren't doable anymore, but that's minor. But I splint every night, and I went on Amazon. I think I got this from AliExpress, but I bought another splint here, a triple splint from AliExpress. Again, solid metal in the middle. I think that's a bar of steel, not aluminum. And then this splint just slides on. So you size it properly, and you wear it at night. And guess what? You don't even know you're wearing it. You get so used to it that it just becomes second nature. And guess what? I saved my pinky. So I would recommend for everybody that has Dupuytrens and has started any bending at all, or even a little bit of bending now, you could probably start splinting now. and what it looks like is happening in your body when you splint, right? You're splinting like this. It's preventing it from moving in. And if you prevent this from moving this way, guess what? This moves this way. So it bunches up right here. And instead of grabbing the finger and hauling it in, it just grabs this tissue and hauls it into this position. And guess what? This doesn't hurt at all. It's just a little bit of a speed bump in my finger. See, if you're driving this way and you hit the speed bump, bam, you crash right into the knuckle. It's terrible. So it creates this little speed bump in my finger, and the rest of it's okay. You can see there's a little tiny bit of it here with a nodule, but this hasn't progressed any worse than this over the years at all. So no problem there. Here it's got a bit of a bunch up right there. It doesn't seem to affect much, except I can't pop a coin as high as I used to. I used to be able to take a coin, put it in my fingers like this, and just throw that really far. That's not too bad still, so I can still do a bit of a coin pop with that, and it doesn't interfere with that too much. But it's hideous, Jerry. No, anyway, if you're shaking hands with people, you don't want them squeezing your hand tight. So nowadays with COVID that came in, you can always do the knuckle thing, and no one just gets angry at you and says, "What the hell's that?" So splinting, highly recommended for Dupuytrens. Please share this video, because I've watched a lot of people with agonizing Dupuytrens, and they've all been, it's very sad that people have lost their dexterity in their pinky or their second finger over, as you can see in stage 3 of that picture. It's called Viking's disease because I think it's from that region of the world, right? Norway, that area of the world it comes from. And if you get the gene, then you kind of have it. And on a funny note, before I finish, I asked my dad, he's still alive, he's 89 soon, and he had a little bit of it in his hand. I said, because I showed him my hand, I said, "Look at that, Dad." And he goes, "Oh yeah, I got that too." He goes, "What do you mean you got that?" And he showed me his hand, and his finger wasn't in, but he had a little bump and a thing like this there. And I said, "Geez, Dad, what else you got?" Anyway, sense of humor. Anyway, that's my video. It's a personal thing, but I think I wanted to share this with everybody. So go ahead, start splinting, and you'll find out in over 6 months to a year, your finger's going to start working normally. It will not bend back in. Just splint every night, and you'll get used to it. I highly recommend it. They did a study in the 60s. If you Google it, you'll find the study. Look it up. I don't know why people don't do that and look at what they can do to cure their problems. Operating on it is still an option. Needle therapy is an option. They can inject chemicals in there to loosen up the stuff, but in general, just put a damn splint on and stop complaining.